بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Because he transformed their lives. Among the transformation that the Prophet ﷺ introduced is respecting humanity for the sake of humanity, for their humanity. Not because of cultural values, traditional values, racial values, but rather for the sake of humanity itself. Humans need to be respected for their humanity. Quraysh at that time was not used to the idea, it was something foreign, that a black person would be given status. The Arabs in that era, that was foreign to them, unheard of. That was a radical change that the Prophet introduced. When the Prophet ﷺ appoints Bilal al-Habashi as the mu'adhin, Quraysh objects. In fact, his own companions in Medina object. The Arabs object. But they couldn't object. They had to find an excuse for their objection. So they said, Ya Rasulullah, he cannot pronounce the letter Sheen in Ashhadu. Allah ilaha illallah. He said the Seen, he says Ashadu because of his language. He says, that's fine. The Seen of Bilal is Sheen, as heard by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Seen as a sheen by Allah. That was a radical transformation. To have a black man be given the position of such a great important position of calling adhan 5 times a day. That was radical. Got to think of that society. The society that used to look at its tribesmen. A society that if a band of them says, help me, khalas, they would help him. Whether he was the transgressor or the one who's oppressed. To them, that was a huge difference. And then he comes and says, Inna akramakum indallah atqakum. The most honorable of you is the one with the highest piety. There is no difference between an Arab and a non-Arab except with piety, taqwa. That was radical to the Arabs. That was something that did not experience. That's one. Second, giving status to women. Giving status to women. The Arabs did not treat women as human beings, but as objects. The Prophet comes and tells them no. Give them respect. Show them respect. The Quran has several verses addressing women. A lady comes to the Prophet ﷺ complaining of her husband. A surah is revealed in the Quran called Surah Al-Mujadilah to address her concerns. On his way to his Hajj, to perform his Hajj, thousands of Muslims are with him. They go to Masjid al-Shajara, which is just outside of Medina. They go to Masjid al-Shajara. They put on their ihram, they're preparing for their Hajj. It happens that Asma bint Umays, Ridwanullah ta'ala alayha, she was pregnant with Muhammad ibn Abi Bakr. She gives birth to him in that time. The Prophet ﷺ did not want to leave Asma behind and go so that she might feel bad that the Prophet left me and went. He stayed for a few extra days and all those thousands of Muslims stayed with him until she recovered from her delivery and she was capable of continuing the journey with the Prophet ﷺ, and they go together towards Mecca. That was unheard of in Arabia. He introduced this transformation through action to show them. He taught people to respect others, irrespective of their religion, background. That was not there. He comes to Medina, he forms an alliance with the Jews. In the famous incident of Mubahala, when the Christians come to discuss with Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi, and at the end they say, we don't want to believe in you, but we want to live in peace with you. So we will live under the umbrella of Islam, pay the taxes, just like, the Muslims are paying taxes. Everyone needs to pay taxes for the protection and the benefits they'll receive from living under the banner of Islam, under the umbrella of Islam. We'll pay the taxes, but we don't have money on us right now. We're going to go back and then send you the money. Some of the Muslims objected. They said, Ya Rasulullah, if these people go back, what guarantees they're going to send them the money? We need someone to guarantee them. He says, I guarantee them. I'm their guarantor. Let them go back. So then they go back. He respects people for their manners. Idol worshippers. A tribe and comes to Medina. They come to the boundaries of Medina. The Prophet ﷺ sees, he sends a group of Muslims, a delegation, says, what do they want? What does this delegation want? The delegation tells them, listen, we are idol worshippers. We don't want to become Muslims. However, we don't want to fight you either. We want to make peace with you. And we don't want to support you. We don't want to form an alliance. You guys might fight some other tribes, and we might have relationship with them, friendships with them, etc., etc. We don't want to support you in the fight. So we will not fight against you, nor will we support you. Just leave us alone and we'll leave you alone. The Prophet ﷺ appreciated this, and he told the Muslims, put the finest dates that we have on a plate and take it to them as a gift. He appreciated this gesture. And the ayah came down, Allah does not forbid you from being fair to those who do not fight against you. An ayah was revealed. These people did not come to fight. So be fair to them, respect them, respect their traditions. Even though they're idol worshippers, the Prophet respected them, respected their beliefs. He never imposed his beliefs on anybody. Even his own enemies, Mecca, the people of Mecca, when he finally gets hold of them and victory over them, he forgives all of them. These were examples of transformations. That's radical transformation. And then, in addition to all this, he started dealing with people fairly. Fairly. Whether you are rich or you're poor. Whether you come from a big tribe or a weak tribe. Teach them, educate them. And these were some of the transformations that happened within the 23 years that the Prophet ﷺ invested with the Muslims. These 23 years. He transformed them from a group of nomads who were living in a tribal manner into a big mighty force that is now fighting against the Romans and the Persians. Big, huge empires. That is not a simple thing, huh? Yani imagine within 23 years, you transform this group of people who are living as tribes, individuals. All of a sudden now they're united. The entire Arabia is united. Yemen, Bahrain, all that region, that whole region is now under the banner of Islam. And now they're in the borders of the Roman Empire, what we could call today Jordan, Syria, Iraq. They were at that border, that region. And hence, shortly after Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, even during his time, they were fighting against the Romans. Shortly after him, they fought against the Persians, and they conquered the Persians. So how did that transformation is a huge transformation. He transformed the society from being a society of tribes, no civilization, into writers, into readers, into thinkers, intellectuals. Where Thomas Carlyle, who is a British writer, in 1840, he gave a lecture series titled The Heroes. In one of them, he speaks of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wa alihi, Muhammad. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Where he speaks about him, and he says, I'm paraphrasing his word, but if you want, you can go look it up. It's online, available. The Heroes is the title of his series, and in one of them is about the Prophet ﷺ. He says how the Prophet transformed this group of nomads into this force that within 100 years from his message, they were ruling 2/3 of the world. 2/3 of the world was governed by the Muslims within 100 years. So he says, indeed, this man is a hero who managed to make such a transformation into his followers, into his companions. They started fighting eagerly for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then he started giving the wealth in a manner that is the best suited, such that at the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, nobody used to sleep hungry. Nobody would sleep hungry. To the best of his ability. Of course, Islam's resources at the time was limited. But he would encourage people, give to the poor, give. Try to save yourself from the hellfire even through a part of a date. Because some Muslims say, Ya Rasulullah, we're poor, we can't afford to give sadaqat. Well, can you afford water? Yes, okay, give water. Can you afford half a date? Yeah, half a date I can afford. Fine, give half a date. So he encouraged the Muslims to give. To give. He changed their akhlaq. These people who used to fight because of selfishness, that this is mine and that's yours, don't cross. The minute you cross, I'm going to kill you. These people with this kind of ideologies, all of a sudden comes the battles. And in some battles, you'd find people after the battle who are wounded. They bring them some water. They say, would you like to drink some water? He says, no, 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 give it to my companion, my friend there. He's also thirsty. Let him drink the water. So they go to the next person. He says, no, 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 give it to him. He's more thirsty than I am. Give it to him. And they give. By the time they go to the third or the fourth person, he died. They come back to the second, he's died. They come back to the first, he's also died. That spirit that the Quran praises, وَيُؤْثِرُونَ عَلَىٰ أَنفُسِهِمْ وَلَوْ كَانَ بِهِمْ خَصَاصًا, that they sacrifice of what they like, of what they love. This were the companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, especially the people of Medina, the Ansar. That transformation was a huge transformation. Then, a very important transformation in their aqa'id. These people used to be idol worshippers. A person one day made an idol out of dates. After a little while he became hungry. He ate the idol. Ate the dates. So these were the idols that they were worshipping. Made of rocks, stones, food that sometimes they would eat. Sometimes animals would come and they would do their thing on the idols. And that's what some of the Sahaba, some of the Muslimin would tell the mushrikeen, says, this is the idol that you're worshipping? Is this it? Is this it? So he changed people's belief. And that's also very important. People used to be idol worshippers. The Prophet transformed their lives, transformed their ibadah to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Amir al-Mu'mineen salamullahi alayhi, regarding this matter, he says, he gives three descriptions of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. He says, those people, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi, taught these people three things. أظهر به الشرائع المجهولة وقمع به البدع المدخولة وبين به الأحكام المفصولة. أظهر به الشرائع المجهولة. Through the Prophet ﷺ, they were taught the laws, salat, siyam, things that they did not know about. They were ignorant about them. The belief in Allah. وقمع به البدع المدخولة. And he fought the innovations. The mushrikeen, for example, they used to do tawaf around the Kaaba naked. Because they say, we don't want to have any clothes, anything materialistic to distance us from Allah. So we take everything off. This is how Allah creates us, and this is how we're going to do the tawaf around the Kaaba. And they used to do clapping and whistling when they do tawaf around the Kaaba. Muka'an wa tasdiya, what the Quran refers to. Clapping and whistling. Whistling is makruh, by the way. I know some of the youth, the boys, sometimes they whistle. That's makruh in Islam. It's not recommended. He taught them that this is not how you do tawaf around the Kaaba. This is bid'ah. So he fought against these innovations, these acts, worshipping the idols, things that Allah did not teach. He taught them. He educated them. And then وَبَيَّنَ بِهِ الْأَحْكَامَ الْمَفْصُولَةِ. And he described detailed laws for them. Laws of politics, laws of financial system, laws about living your life, cleaning, cleanliness, brushing your teeth is important in Islam. And nadafatu min al-iman. He taught them. It's not necessary that you wear luxury clothes, but clean clothes. You look presentable. That's important. That's how the Prophet ﷺ used to look, and encourage his companions to look that way. Cleaning oneself when we go to the bathroom, which unfortunately some of our youth don't have a clue about it, by the way. It's important for the parents to teach them sometimes. Invest time about tahara. In fact, some of the old people, unfortunately, they don't know the difference between tahara and between nadafa. Pure, tahirin, zakahum, clean, nadifin. These were major transformations introduced by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Within 23 years, the Muslims who were, let's say, here, now all of a sudden they were way up there. In terms of mentality, in terms of thinking, in terms of attitude, in terms of religion, in terms of everything. Huge transformation. Ja'far al-Tayyar radwanullahi ta'ala alayh, when he went to Abyssinia or Ethiopia, Habasha, he told the king of Ethiopia, we were people who were nomads. We used to look after our relatives. We were worshipping a bunch of stones. We did not respect anybody. We were living in constant fear of attack. That was our life before Allah sent us this messenger of God, who taught us to love everyone, to respect everyone. He transformed our lives to what we are right now. And hence the king of Ethiopia accepted that, appreciated that. He said, sure, you're more than welcome to stay there. This is what the Prophet ﷺ transformed through his trust, through his compassion, through his love, through his dedication, through his patience, through his perseverance, through his pain. He sits on the minbar towards the end of his life and says, مَا أُوذِيَ نَبِيٌّ مِثْلِي قَطْ. No prophet was hurt as I have been hurt. I've been hurt a lot. Lots of challenges, a lot of problems. Although the Prophet ﷺ may have lived a shorter life than many prophets. Nuh lived 2,500 years. Adam and Ibrahim, those people lived long lives. The Prophet, relatively speaking, may have lived a shorter lifespan than many of the prophets, or some of the prophets. Yet he's the one who faced most challenges, most difficulties, most problems to make this transformation. The Muslims became a mighty force, powerful intellectuals, writers, thinkers. They learned to love each other, respect one another, look after each other. But then he told them, you need one thing so that this can continue for you. You need one thing. What is that one thing? You need Ahlul Bayt. إِنِّي تَارِكٌ فِيكُمُ الثَّقَلَيْنِ. I'm leaving amongst you two things. Kitab Allah وَعِتْرَتِي أَهْلَ بَيْتِي. Allah Allah bi ahli bayti, Allah Allah bi ahli bayti, Allah Allah bi ahli bayti. As narrated in Sahih Muslim. I'm leaving amongst you two things. The book of Allah and my progeny, my family. Allah is observing how you take care of my family. Allah is observing how you take care of my family. Allah is observing how you take care of them. Take care of them. Look after them. قُلْ لَا أَسْأَلُكُمْ عَلَيْهِ أَجْرًا إِلَّا الْمَوَدَّةَ فِي الْقُرْبَى. I don't ask you for any ajr, but to love, to obey, to follow my progeny, my kin. A man asks, whose kin? Our kin or your kin? He says, no, mine, my own. Ali, Fatima, Hassan, Hussein. Those are the people whom you need to follow. Follow them, listen to them, obey them.
يا حسين